For the first time in 4,752 days, the American Airlines Center plays host to an NBA Finals game. That was Game 5 of the 2011 Finals. 3 days later, the Mavs would close it out and win the championship in Miami in Game 6, exactly 13 years ago today. There's a bit of mathematical symmetry going on for the Mavericks tonight, and they could use it as they try and get back into the 2024 NBA Finals. They need to protect home court in the worst way. 2 wins here in Dallas is the only way that this will be a series again. Even a split here on their home floor means they're probably heading back to Boston to lose the series in Game 5, if we're really being honest here. But if they do win both games here in Dallas, game on. Luka Doncic has been terrific through these first 2 games of the series, a 32-point triple-double in Game 2. He chastised himself for his turnovers and missed free throws in Game 2 and said he was why they lost the basketball game. He's not wrong that those 2 things were problems, but he was the only reason they were in the game, so he needs to be a little bit fairer to himself. However, admirable, and that's what a leader does. So that's all good things out of Doncic. They need that to clean up for sure. Other than that, they need Luka to keep playing the way he's been playing, and they need everybody else to step it up in a major way. Kyrie Irving 0 for 8 from three-point range in this series. We saw him warming up earlier. At one point, he hit 15 out of 19 three-pointers. Obviously, that's in warm-ups on air. That's not terribly important per se. But for a guy who's trying to find the range, at least pregame, he was moving in the right direction. PJ Washington needs to shoot the ball better, just 13% from 3 so far in this series. The entirety of the roster needs to shoot the ball from 3 better if they're going to beat a Celtics team that is historically good at shooting the three-point shot and historically efficient, historically high volume from three-point range. This is what they do. If the Mavs want to be able to beat this team, they're going to have to match that prowess in some form or fashion. Dallas's defense in this series, outside of the first quarter and a half or so of Game 1 when they got just absolutely blitzed by Boston, has actually been fairly good. I think they feel good about the way that they even finished Game 1 from a defensive perspective as they started to sort things out a little bit and figure out how to defend Boston and get them off the three-point line. They did a very good job of it in Game 2, keeping Boston from being able to scorch them from 3. And yet they still come home in this 0-2 series hole. So it's going to take more than just their three-point shooting defense that's been decent to be able to win this series. I think the biggest thing that you need to see, though, tonight, and I think I expect to see from the Dallas Mavericks tonight, is they're going to just be more comfortable, more at peace, at home, not dealing with the Boston crowd. Kyrie Irving, Derek Lively, a couple guys tried to kind of downplay the impact of the Boston crowd. We all have eyes. We all saw what kind of impact was made on this Mavs team by playing there in Boston and dealing with the volume that crowd brought to the table, the boos that they rained down on Kyrie Irving. They're all back home. None of them have to deal with that tonight, and for tonight and on Friday night, they don't need to deal with any of that. That should make life easier for Dallas. Doesn't mean that they're going to just waltz through this, because Boston is very nearly as good on the road as they are at home this year. In fact, Boston's road record of 27-14 was better than Dallas's home record this year of 25-16. 24-7. Now I'm doing math poorly here. 24-17. Yes, they were a game better at home than on the road rather than Dallas was on their home floor. Sorry, I had to trip myself up with some math there for a moment. But Boston's very, very good. That travels, and this is going to be a challenge for Dallas. But again, 2 wins on their home floor, and it's game on, series on, and I really feel like what Dallas needs to do, their pathway to winning this series. It's a narrow one, but there is a chance. You have to protect home court. Have to win all 3 games on your home floor. If you do that much, you guarantee yourself an opportunity to go to Boston and play a Game 7. And by that point, now you'd be playing your 4th game in Boston. everybody on the roster would be just a step more comfortable dealing with the intensity of that crowd. Kyrie Irving would be 7 games into dealing with what Boston is throwing at him, both from an on-court perspective and from a crowd perspective. He'd be taking his 4th bite at the apple at that point, dealing with all the Kyrie sucks chants that they have rained down on him. And frankly, that's the PG version of what they've been saying to him over the course of this series. That's what you have to do. Get yourself to a Game 7. Win on your home floor in all 3 games. Earn yourself an opportunity to go to Boston for Game 7. And then it's a one-shot deal. And just roll the ball out there and see what you can make happen. Again, it's a narrow pathway, but there's a pathway. It has to include a win tonight and a win Friday.